What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to give you a little shop update, kind of going over some of the cool projects and things we have going on at the shop. The MK3 Supra, that giveaway ended yesterday, and for those of you guys who all got entered, I really appreciate the support, and I wish every one of you good luck. We should know the winner in 5 to 7 business days, and we will do an official live stream on the YouTube channel right here, and we will call the winner. There's not going to be any like fake social media pages. We're never going to ask anybody for like payment to receive anything like that, so don't fall for any scams. I know they're out there, and I just want to assure you that, you know, we call the winners and we do it live on YouTube. So if it's not that, it's not real. It's not not anything like that. And if you have any questions about anything, shoot us a message on Instagram. Say, hey, if this page is messaging you, and we'll confirm or probably just deny everything because we call the winner on YouTube. This video is filmed a couple days before the giveaway is ending, so we got a couple things we need to button up on this, so we're gonna go ahead and go over that. We also have the Civic. We got a bunch of cool things too, and we are gonna give you guys an update on the Datsun Sunny and kind of the plans for the rest of May, because we are planning on doing a video every single day during the month of May to kind of see if we could refresh the algorithm, get kind of back in the mix of things, see how that works, and if not, I might be quitting YouTube. Well, let's start working on the Supra and see how far we get. We're just cleaning up a bunch of little things on it, kind of getting it ready to go. Obviously, it runs, it drives, it makes a bunch of power, but you know, little things on the interior, like, you know, the radio. It had this really old radio right here, an Alpine. We recovered this little center thing. We got new boots right here for the shifter as well as the e-brake. We're just wiring some stuff up underneath the dash. You know, again, just trying to dial it in a little bit more. I went ahead and I have brand new hood struts, which are supposed to be delivered today or tomorrow. As you can see, we've been kind of doing this whole deal right there, you know, with the factory hood struts. So I ordered front and rears, so those will be all dialed in. I'm just kind of gathering some parts from around the shop, but a couple things we got to talk about. We have the yellow K-Series all-wheel drive Civic, which is potentially going to go to the PFI Speedfest this Saturday, May 3rd at Pueblo Motorsports Park. We should be ripping this thing. I went to that event last year. It was the only time the car went out. We developed a misfire after we ripped it for a little bit. The control arm kind of came back, and I almost got in an accident like 150 miles an hour. And other than that, it's pretty much sat. So I ordered a new slick. We're gonna start this thing today. We're gonna fire it up. We have some updates on this side of the shop as well. And probably a big update that you guys are curious about is what is happening with the Datsun Sunny. We have Rudnik's truck, the little Datsun right here. It's been sitting on this side of the shop since he left. And I just kind of want to explain a little bit of the situation with that and what is going to happen, because I'm not going to finish it, and we'll kind of talk about that. So as you can see, the front end on this thing is the Hakutora style, so it's like the GTR style front end. It's actually a really nice front end, and when Rudnik was here last, I believe it was July, we fit this thing. It was really wiggly. So fiberglass parts are not known for being, you know, very nice fitting. Although this kit was pretty good, it still had waves in it. So what we did is we pretty much blocked out the whole fenders. We blocked out the hood. They had some wiggles in it. And as you can tell, the paint is really nice on the front, because I only painted the front piece of this. We also painted the fiberglass bumper, this stuff, all of this headlight trim and the grille stuff, as well as the fender flares, which these are actually built in. So we went ahead, did a tape line, and then painted all of this stuff at once. Now when we open the hood, you can see right here that the engine bay has not been painted, and we have a bunch of other stuff that needs hooked up, like radiator, throttle body, you know, transmission things, drive shaft, fuel pump, fuel system, fuel lines, I think brake lines. There's just a bunch of stuff that needs finished on this car. When Rudnik initially came here from Connecticut, his actually, it was kind of a perfect excuse. He had a single rear wheel crew cab short bed truck. His F-250 is 2015 with a 6.7 Power Stroke. I recently had picked up a 2016 F-350 dually Lariat, so it was black leather interior, long bed, and a dually, whereas his truck was a short bed with the XLT, so it had the cloth seats in it. So there's definitely a little bit of an upgrade, and what we ended up doing is my truck needed an engine, but essentially me and Rudnik just did a trade deal, of reasonable trade deal in the history of trade deals. Our initial deal was trading the work on his truck, basically trading his truck for my truck, and we took his engine out of his 2015 because he's kind of sentimental. He's like, well, this truck's been across the country with me. I don't want some random engine. I don't want a rebuilt engine. I don't want anything. Let's put my engine in there. Or I offered, basically. I was like, well, we got to do the work anyhow. So let's put your engine in this truck so that way my name is not tied to, you know, an engine that we rebuilt or anything like that. It was his engine, his problem, and you know, that sort of deal. So anyhow, the truck ended up needing a ton of work, and Rudnik was here for an entire month. So the Sunny just kind of got thrown into the mix. It was like, all right, well, I'm already going to Colorado. We might as well go to Vegas and save the Sunny because it was sitting in a shop there. And if you guys have seen, this truck has just basically been passed around between shops and maybe YouTube sort of things over the past couple years. Our deal was that I was going to paint the front end and then paint the engine bay. And while he was here, we were going to work on it together to get the engine and transmission and, you know, wiring and some of that other stuff running. So he has a wiring specialties harness right here. You know, we kind of went from there. Well, we ended up spending most of the time on the truck. He wanted to learn body work. He wanted to do some other stuff with this. We essentially just kind of ran out of time. So again, our trade deal was essentially trading trucks and then him helping me promote our giveaway, which was Project Built Giveaway 18 at the time, which was our 2018 Ford F-250, which was a super sick truck. And so, you know, we were doing truck stuff. Essentially everything that we did, or all the labor and everything that we had at the shop, that was the exchange for working on his truck, doing all of the other stuff. And kind of the Sunny thing was just kind of thrown in there. It was kind of cool. I essentially got the Sunny t-shirt, so I was able to sell the Sunny shirt, and then you would get entries into the giveaway. But as we started looking at the truck, looking at the previous paint on it, this truck has been painted before. Obviously these things didn't come Nardo gray, but you start looking down the side of the truck and it's kind of hard to tell. But if you see, it is definitely hard to tell in this light. But the truck has a lot of it's basically ripply. And if you put a straight edge down the side of the truck, it actually dips in the middle and then comes back out. So this whole panel is kind of dipped in. And I don't know if it's because, you know, somebody rolled the fenders and maybe it kind of pushed it in right there. But we started looking at the truck a lot more. Essentially agreed that this thing needs like a full restoration, like, you know, fully block it down, as well as in order to put on these fender flares right here. These fender flares go up really, really tall. I'll go ahead and stick one of these things on here. So in order to get the fitment of this truck right, you can see right there in the front, we have that fella. So that fender flare goes to right here. So imagine all you would have to cut out right here, cut this, seal it up, flare it, do all that other stuff in order to get this guy to go on there. Look at that. So look at that. That's how much you'd have to cut out of this thing. The whole fender is literally underneath that one, as well as this truck it's not like a normal truck with a frame, it's a unibody. So in order to get this truck low to sit how it's supposed to, as you can see, we still have a lot of fender gap up here in the front. In order to get this truck low, it's a lot of work. You pretty much have to cut all this stuff out like you're gonna do a wide body on a quarter panel. You have to seal this up. I think you would end up having to do a bigger tub inside here potentially, as well as the frame, which is essentially a unibody. You have to do some sort of a C-notch because this has just a live axle in the back. It's not independent suspension. So in order to get the axle to actually go up, you have to notch that, reinforce it, do all that other stuff. It's a huge, huge fabrication process. At that point, it's like, well, what do we do? You know, we were running out of time. Rudnik needed to get back to Connecticut, and it was kind of one of those things. Well, he wanted to pick up the GS300 on the way back. He only had a single car trailer. He's like, well, let's just leave it here. We'll figure it out later. And so at that point, you know, our deal was pretty much done. I painted the front, other than I still owe the engine bay. So the plan now is it is gonna go back with him to Connecticut after I paint the engine bay, and then Dan, his fabricator friend, him and Rudnik are going to do all of the work on the engine bay, get the wiring harness in it, get the radiator in it, get the fuel system plumbed. And then as far as the paint and the body work and all of that other stuff in the future, I think maybe we'll work out something in the future. You know, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's definitely a huge, huge task and a huge project to take on. You know, I know kind of the meme, you know, the meme is on, you know, like shout outs don't pay the bills type of thing. In our case, you know, the shout outs did pay the bills for the truck and all of this stuff. But as far as doing a full, you know, restoration on this thing with a ton of fab work with the back, as well as pretty much stripping down this whole body, blocking the whole thing, you can see a couple little just a little dent right there. But the whole side of the truck just kind of looks a little ripply, and it just looks like cellulite, as well as there's a bunch of like little chipping paint, you know, in between like the doors and where you close the doors and stuff right there. So I mean, it really needs to be completely blown apart, and that is a huge ordeal. And it would probably take me and like 2 guys a whole entire month of just straight work on this thing to get it right. If you were gonna go with like show car finish, obviously he could take this thing back to Connecticut, get it running and driving, and go from there. We talked about maybe just doing a scuff and shoot, but at that point it doesn't really make sense if, you know, the goal of this thing is to make it really nice, which I think that is. Also, I have a gallon of paint. Initially, my local paint store, they matched the paint to a quart because we were just gonna do the front. As soon as I told him, hey, we're probably gonna end up respraying the whole car or the whole truck, he went ahead up and mixed a gallon. Well, when he did that, because it was gonna be a complete respray, basically got the color close. That's why the front end is a slightly different color, but I will include all the paint that we have for it. So in the future, you know, whatever they do with the rest of the body, they could go ahead and take care of that. They will have the exact color, and it will match the rest of the truck. So that is the update on the Sunny, but that leads us to this side of the shop where we just have all of these things. So we have my 2JZ S14. It's been apart for a little while. We ended up having low compression on one cylinder. So right here I have the 2J high compression Wiseco pistons, Eagle rods. This thing has been all machined and it is essentially ready to go back together. I have my cylinder head from the machine shop. It is a built cylinder head now. So we just did the GSC cams, valve springs, retainers, valve job, a couple things like that. Basically the head is ready to go on it, and this thing is going to be really spicy. So we're planning on putting this together and attending the Slush Motorsports Festival here in Colorado, May 24th. A bunch of things are getting done on the Mark III. Everything, you know, as far as it running and driving and stopping and being a functioning car, it all works. We were able to, you know, film ads and do all the other cool stuff. Now is like that last, you know, 5% of the little nitty gritty stuff that you're just like, I want to drive this thing, I want to put it on the dyno. We've also been going through like the box of parts that this thing came with. So we've also been taking a lot of the extra parts since this car, you know, it had a wideband sensor in it, it had a boost controller in it. Aaron is getting some stuff shipped for eBay. This is kind of the eBay section. We just sold this RSX taillight, so he's getting a box already for that stuff to go. How many items have we sold this month on eBay?
I don't know, but we've done pretty good this month. Yeah. Doing some volume. Check us out. We're putting stuff on every day. You can dig through Trevor's junk. Yeah,
I have a lot of stuff, and even today I was just like running through all of my boxes of like spare parts. I'm like, okay, I have like a 2JZ GTE upper intake manifold. We have this idle air control valve right there, which these things are worth a couple $100. We have map sensors, like this is the 1J map sensor that came on the Mark III Supra. 360 cameras. Also, it had this Greddy electronic boost controller, which was pretty cool. I went ahead and I hooked that up, tested it, made sure that like the low and the high worked. So that's kind of a cool little unit, but we're gonna be listing this on eBay. We also have, this is a PLX wideband sensor that was in the car when we got it. Tested that thing and got it all listed, you know, and just really kind of excited about the eBay thing because I just have so many parts just sitting around, and it's cool because it's helping you guys get your projects going together. So yeah, I will put the link in the description. If you guys search on eBay, it's just Motion Auto Performance. Like, you know, when we did the Telluride giveaway, we have the lowering springs that we took back off. We just have a bunch of really cool stuff essentially. So check that out. We have like a B&W gooseneck turnover ball, you know, just like random stuff laying around. Another RSX Type S taillight. This is an 06. But it is broken right there. So just going through that process of, you know, full disclosures, taking pictures of it, listing it, and it's been pretty cool. Also in the paint booth right now, Sean went ahead and cleaned up the wiper arms for the Mark III. So got those all hung up and painted. We have the 6.7 Power Stroke engine. So this is the engine that is gonna go in my compound turbo dually. This is a 2020 motor with the steel pistons and, you know, beefier connecting rods, but we have to put the 2017 style turbo setup on it and then put the compound setup on it, and then we will get that truck up and running soon. So I guess that is kind of it for a lot of the random little updates around the shop. As we continue throughout today, I'll show you guys what we get done in the engine bay of that, but I would like to move on to the Civic right now and see if this thing starts. I feel like it's just gonna fire up. We ended up stealing the coil packs out of it. The misfire that we ended up having last year ended up being a coil pack. We had a set of like used coil packs that I think we were swapping them from something. So I went ahead and I ordered some brand new Denso coil packs. We have brand new spark plugs in here. We charged up the battery. So I think in theory, this thing might start. Like if I click this on right here, the headlight will turn on. Eric, do you think it's gonna go? You could stand up. You could come over here. You could grab the laptop. Because we need to take this thing to the track, right?
Get a new PB.
New personal best. The fastest this thing has ran is a 9:05, so basically a 9 flat, like 158 miles an hour. Yeah, I just need to make sure that it has the tune in it, the right one, because we've been playing magical ECUs. That's the nice thing about having everything on ECU Masters is like, as long as the car runs and drives on one and it's sitting there, well, you could take it, save the tune, take the ECU out of the Civic, put it in the S14, go to a drift event, come back, take it out of that, put it in the Civic, go to a drag event. All right. Don't look at my wiring. We're gonna work on that too. So, key on. Oh, yep. ECU's on. So, a quick way that, like, before I try to start a car, you know, obviously we go from like a 2J to a 4-cylinder. So this, I think this might have been the ECU out of my drift car, because you can see we have 6 ignition vents right there, and this is a 4-cylinder. So that means I gotta find my tune for this thing and then put it in. So, give me a second, and we'll figure that out. Another way that I know that it's the Civic is because we have a 9,600 RPM rev limit, as well as a 61, almost 50 pound of, like, let's say 46 pound of boost fuel cut. That's another way I look at it. I'm like, okay, we have 4 ignition events, we have 9,600 RPM, and I think there's a notes section on here. I need to go to the notes and then just, like, you know, put on there like, okay, K24 all-wheel drive Civic, final tune, last thing, and then I think it'll do something. You ready? You think it's gonna start? Oh, yeah. You ready? So she runs. That's good. We got our hood prop right here. Oh no. Where does it go? Okay. It's a little sketchy, but it'll work. All right. Let's try it again. Civic is back, I think. It doesn't sound like it has a misfire or anything like that, so I think the new coils and the injectors, you put coolant in it, right? Hang over here. Oh, look at that. Alright, so we got the new hood struts installed, so now we don't have to do the thing. Did we get the rears too? Yeah. Nice. Cool. Just getting her dialed in. Just move right along, buddy. Over here on the interior, Eric went ahead and he got this radio installed right there. We got some shift boots. We have this thing. Kind of need to tie that down a little bit more. I was buttoning up a little bit of the wiring right there as well. So right now, coolant temp doesn't work, tach doesn't work, speedo doesn't work, fuel level works, voltage works. But we do have this CAN gauge that shows a lot of that data. This thing is really cool. And since we have this oil pressure gauge, it doesn't work, and we can technically pin in the Wiring Specialties harness already has an oil pressure gauge built into it. We could delete that oil pressure gauge. I think it would be really cool to actually drill this out, remove that gauge, and then put this analog gauge right there, because that thing's pretty cool. Check this out. We'll go ahead and stick this in. You can see there we have the air fuel ratio, RPM, intake air temp, coolant or oil temperature, coolant temperature, E8, you know, the ethanol content right up there at the top. You go to this page, which will show you your boost and stuff. We have the air fuel ratio, intake air temp, you know, just a couple other little pages and stuff in here. So definitely a really cool gauge, but I would like to get it mounted because it's not officially mounted. We also figured out the starter relay thing, because we were having issues with it where it wasn't wanting to start up really nice without that. So we figured that out. So now we got a Bluetooth radio, so we're gonna go ahead and button up the rest of this stuff right here. All right, so we got the dash, everything buttoned up. We've got the battery box in here, and that's pretty much all we're gonna have time to mess with today for the Supra, because I gotta get headed home and do the final day live stream. If you guys wanna stay tuned for what we have coming up this month, again, like I said at the beginning of the video, planning on doing a video every single day, some stuff going to the track with the Civic, building the engine for the 2JZ in my S14, doing a compound turbo setup on my 6.0 Power Stroke, the compound turbo engine getting put together and put back in the 2017 dually. We're gonna be doing some trailer stuff, We're gonna be doing some track car stuff. We have a lot of things planned, and I'm pretty stoked. So if you guys want to follow along with the journey, be sure to check back tomorrow, May 2nd. We should have another video. If we can't get back into the algorithm or something like that, we're considering like maybe doing Motion Auto 2.0, like a different channel, like not necessarily switching from, you know, to something else. I know I have the vlog channel, but I kind of want to keep that more of like a personal thing, or, you know, maybe not go completely automotive. I like Motion Auto. I like what it is. I think it's really cool. I just, you know, I feel like we're battling some stuff with the algorithm, but appreciate you guys watching this little update video, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Later.